Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask all of you to put yourselves on mute. And we're going to put questions in the chat. And that way, at the end of the session, we'll be able to answer all your chat questions and open it up for additional questions as well. So, let's see. All right. Okay, so welcome to the January 2025 Branch Development Committee Peer Group Meeting. We're excited to see you all here. Our peer group meetings are a monthly program for branch leaders, including presidents, president-elect, program chairs, memberships, nominating committees, and any others who might be interested. I'm Sigrid Morans. I'm AEW California Director for Leadership Development, and my co-director is Becky Gomez, and she is the Director for Membership. So we have this team called Branch Development, and it covers membership, leadership, college, university, leader on loan, branch support, branch activity of the year. I think that's it. Did I miss anybody? Anyway, we have a big mission. So presenting tonight, our part one of Volunteers First will be Peggy Shippen, member of our Leadership Development Committee and author of this series. And she's going to be assisted by members of other branches and other states who helped in the development of this series. And we want to welcome all of you tonight, and especially special welcome to our guests from AEW Oregon and AEW Washington, who are joining us tonight. And several of their members assisted Peggy in preparing this series. I also want to welcome our three AEW state presidents, Charmin Goring, AEW California, Catherine Lutz, AEW Oregon, and Emily Hitchens, AEW Washington. We also want to welcome Claudia Carmichael, president of the four-time five-star Salem, Oregon branch. That's quite an achievement. Thank you all for being here tonight and for promoting this session among your members. Before we get started, we want to have a couple of announcements, and I'm going to share our website so that each of our people can talk about their area. So this is our website, and the way you get there is auwcalifornia-california.org. And then this pops up, and at the top, these are all public places. So Branch Tools is where everything is you need to know about branches. So I'm going to click on that.
Sigrid, could I make a correction? Yes. All the ones that are in large letters are for the public. These are all for members and branches.
You do it?
However, they don't have
it doesn't have a password.
Tools is not password protected.
Thank you.
Because we're willing to share.
Right. So first we'd like to hear from Patricia. Souza is going to give us an update on the branch activity of the year. So let's get down here to our little box for branch activity of the year. And this is where we look at all of the things that have happened in the past. And this is our 2025 one. So Patricia, you'd like
Thank
to
you,
tell
Sigrid.
us a little bit more.
Yes, I'm Patricia Souza. I'm brand new and I'm learning every day how to do this. And we already have 4 or 5 applications coming in. So we encourage all the branches to send us to apply. When you click on read more, you'll see the application that you can just click on and learn all the specifics that you need to be able to submit this. There is a small stipend that comes for the first, second, and third place. And you can also see who won last year, and you can see what their application looked like. And so I think it'll answer all your questions. It's easy to apply, and you'll see my name there, susapello@gmail.com. I'm very responsive. If you have any questions about your application, please do contact me. I'm right now recruiting for judges, so you can contact me if you think your branch is not going to apply this year, but you'd like to be a judge, and you'll be able to learn all about it for maybe next year. We welcome all the applications. We're pretty excited. We had about 20 last year, and we expect even more this year because we know the programs out there are really terrific. And we encourage everyone to submit their very best program for an award.
Okay, and be sure to submit yours by March 15th. That's the
I
deadline.
might submit the court kitchen one as a good activity, since it was collaborated with San Luis.
Yes,
There you go.
we welcome you to apply. Thanks, Sigrid.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Susan Bongosser. And Susan leads our college and university relationship, and most particularly Nick Whistle, which, as you all know, has had some interruptions this year. So Susan, tell us what's up with Nick Whistle.
Okay, well, Sigrid is showing you the web page for the College University Partnership Program, but the information on Nick Whistle isn't on there, although when we get complete information, we can put it on there. So just to give you a background, in case you haven't heard, that AAUW has sponsored Nick Whistle for over 39 years. They've organized it and sponsored it. And this year, they're having an organization with the initials NASPA, which is the Professional Home for Student Affairs Administrators and Higher Education. That organization has the same values and goals that AAUW has, but runs a lot of conferences. Because AAUW National doesn't have the staff to continue to plan Nick Whistle, NASPA is going to organize and plan. The problem is we usually have the information by now. So I contacted just a general email to NASPA and found out that indeed they are holding the conference at the University of Maryland in College Park, Maryland, the same site we typically use. And the dates are May 31st to June 1st. The cost for those staying in dorms will be $585. They have not shared the details or anything with us officially. In an email that I received, they said in February, they will get that out to AUW, who will get it to all of the branches and post it on the national AAUW site. So I hope to figure out a way to get everybody aware that if you're planning to send a student to Nick Whistle, the details are now available. I had been working with Katrina at National AAUW before this got moved to NASPA, with some concerns that West Coast branches have regarding our students attending this conference that more easily, more successfully. A request was to have a dorm room available the evening before Nick Whistle began. I don't know whether that's happening or not. The other request was to have a DC tour, even if it's optional, and we have to pay for it because most of us thought it was a shame to send students who had never been out of the state practically, or certainly never been to Washington, DC area, and not give them the opportunity to see DC. I don't know if either of those things will happen. I did email NASPA, a contact that responded to my first email, and asked them to consider that, and she forwarded it to a woman staff working on Nick Whistle. So we do know the dates, we know the cost, we don't know the other details, and it's coming out in February, hopefully early February.
Yes.
Thanks, Susan. Okay.
And then there was a question. I don't know if you want me to look at that question now.
And if I might, I should
Oh.
clarify, the Branch Activity of the Year Award is only available to the branches in California. So
Yes. Thank you.
thank
I
you.
put some information in the chat with
Thank
regard to
you.
that.
Good. Okay. Sharon, let's talk about branch support. What's happening with that?
We're helping branches that are struggling. We had a town hall kind of meeting last week with about 10 branches that attended. And all of this information that you can see, Sigrid, if you could scroll down a little bit further, and all of these blocks have links to membership resources and gobs of information, leadership resources, lots of possibilities to help you with regard to governance structure and membership issues. And the other thing is that we're dealing with branches that are going to possibly need to disband and merge with other branches that are nearby. And so I'm the person on the state board that has been doing this for a lot of years, and I am helping branches to figure out how to proceed with the process. And exactly how branches get renamed and where their monies that might be sequestered at the Special Projects Fund, how they get dispersed.
Thanks, Sharon. Becky, you wanted to talk a little bit about membership and the survey?
Yes, thanks for that. We're going to be putting out a survey very soon, just to talk a little bit about scholarships and what people are doing. And that should be coming
Right
out.
up there.
But we still have some work to do on it. The membership resources are there. That's the first block there. That has got a ton of information. The membership toolkit is very useful just to try to, engage your members, help with recruiting, that kind of thing. But I would really encourage you to take a look at that. That membership toolkit section really has a lot of good information that'll be really helpful to your branches. And again, so Sigrid is pulling that up right now. But it's just some really good information. Most of the stuff we know, it's just sometimes we have to have it reinforced to us about, oh yeah, we used to do that, but now we don't. And that's probably a good practice to get back to. So please, explore that if you haven't already. We talked about this a few months ago, but we often have different people attending the call. So it's good to take a good review at it. So thanks, Sigrid.
Thanks, Becky. Bev, do you want to just give us a little update on you and Carol meeting with the branches that have been affected by the Southern California fires and how you're helping them?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, a few of us got together, the presidents of Alhambra, San Gabriel, Glendale, Pasadena, and San Fernando. And we were worked with Charmin and mostly Carol. And I have to thank Carol for her work, because Carol's background, of course, unfortunately, was dealing with the Paradise Fire. And if you remember that, how that wiped out a city town a few years ago. And so what we wanted to do was not reinvent the wheel, but find out what can we learn in a way to help members. Right now, we've identified 7 members who have lost homes in the vicinity, and I think 2 or 3 that have smoke damage. And Carol was extremely helpful. There will be a statement coming out. I hope, I don't know if I think it's supposed to be on the website. I looked for it today, did not find it. I'm sure it's still in the works. But just to have those who would like to contribute gift cards, preferably Carol mentioned gift cards were really helpful for those folks. And we looked at bank cards in particular, and I had a look at the bank cards to make sure people have 12 months to, what do you call, I guess, endorse that bank card, whatever you call it. After 12 months, the banks, then that bank card could charge them just to look at their balance. So we really want to make sure that people understand how the bank cards work. Target worked, Amazon, all of those different ones would be helpful. So we're each trying to work within our branches, the 4 branches I mentioned, and then we're going to be working with the state. and Charmin and Julika have been really helpful with that. So that's kind of where we are. We're still in the beginning stages, but without Carol, I don't know what we would do.
Carol, go ahead.
I actually did very little. Bev and her team, just leapt in there and have been doing wonders. But I think that we need to tell you where to send gift cards if one does, when one wants to do that, and that is to the state office, AUW California office. It's a post office box, and it's on their website.
Great.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Thank
And
you.
I could just add to that. And if you want to say for, let's say, the LA fires, and just put LAF on it. And also if you're sending a check, that all that information will be on there as well. AUW California, and it would be LAF on the check, your memo part, but also on the envelope. So when Julika gets it, she'll be able to move it away from one end, and sort the mail. So, but hopefully this information will get out soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Bev. Okay. So thanks everybody for participating tonight. When you sign off, you'll be directed to a quick survey. We hope that you'll complete it because this helps us to understand your needs and evaluate our presentations. And I see we've already got lots of questions in the chat box, and we will get to them all. So just be patient and we will answer all of your questions.
FYI, I have done most of the answering already.
Okay, thank you so much. Karen is my technical sidekick here who keeps me honest. Okay. All right. Let's get started with Peggy, and we're going to put her in the spotlight. And there you go. All right. Thanks, Peggy.
Mute. And I think I might be ready to go here. All right, I need to go over here. Oh, pardon me. I did this before I needed to. I forgot to share screen. So I'm gonna go back here and slideshow. Start. Oh, I can't. Oh, shoot. I forgot to share screen. And so now I've got to go back and find you all. There we are. Okay, share screen. Okay, it says sharing is not turned on.
Uh-oh.
Sharing is not turned on. How do I turn it on?
Do you have to be a co-host?
Oh,
She is. I hope. I think I made you co-host. Hold on. Let me get you.
It worked before in our practice run.
There we go.
Yeah. Ah, here we are. Okay, very good.
Thanks. Whoever
Okay.
said that, thank you.
Now we're, I think, ready to go here. All right. Okay, I think we're set now. Now I'm just gonna look at, okay, make sure everything's working. All right, thank you, Sigrid. Well, good evening again. I'm delighted all of you are here and that so many of you chose to give of your time tonight to attend this groundbreaking program. Volunteers First is certainly not the program I started out with. It's not the one I quite envisioned giving a year ago, but it is what I now believe will empower AAUW leaders with the means to bring us joy and simultaneously retain engaged AAUW members, develop leaders, and keep the AAUW mission alive. Volunteers First took a village of longtime AAUW California and Oregon leaders and a few non-members. Today's program would not have been possible without Cheryl Blakely, MSW, University of Michigan, recent University of Michigan School of Social Work Dean's Advisory Board member, retired former director of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and former president of AAUW Palm Springs branch, who, with her heart, wisdom, and the depth and breadth of her experience inspired and helped me shape this vision. Author and consultant with AAUW of California, Barry Atland, who enlightened our understanding of why and how engaging the head, heart, and hands of volunteers increases member engagement, retention, and leadership, and consented to our using his book for this program. Sigmund Morantz, our AAW California Branch Leadership Development Chair, gave me the autonomy and endless encouragement. And Gloria Holland, retired English teacher, longtime AAUW Salem, Oregon branch member, and branch playwright, helped me put pen to paper for a narrative I never could have done alone. Thank you all so much. Volunteers First is an awareness program designed specifically for leaders of volunteers. Volunteers First highlights the personal motivators that drive AAUW members' choices for volunteering, for joining, engaging, and leading. Volunteers First seeks serious consideration for a voluntary leadership pivot from primarily assigning tasks to primarily facilitating relationships and creatively orchestrating a branch and environment that fulfills our members' passion for serving. The leadership practices discussed tonight are also the basis for member recruitment. Research shows the volunteer motivators and coinciding leader behaviors presented are universal. When implemented together, there's a credible reason to believe AAUW leaders can and will experience the joy of a steady increase in membership, engagement, retention, and leadership, keeping AAUW and our mission alive well into the future. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but nonprofit volunteer organizations worldwide have been facing a steady decline in members and volunteers for over 20 years.
Peggy, can I interrupt you? We're not
Yes.
seeing your slides.
Oh, you're not? Oh.
No.
Oh, well, that I don't know about. Okay, gee, let me just go end here and see if, goodness sakes, sorry. I mean, gee, I didn't know. Okay, so let's go back here.
Peggy, are you sharing your screen down at the bottom of the band
I
where it
bet
says
I did.
share?
I did.
Okay,
You didn't
here we
do
go.
that.
I think I didn't
Okay.
push share the second time.
Second time.
Okay,
Ah,
thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
this little thing, my goodness sakes, let's,
Okay, just get it into, there you go. You're in slide mode. Okay,
all
we'll
right.
get to where you are.
Let me
On,
see. Where am I? All right, I think
you're on
slide.
slide 3, I think.
Okay, so yeah. All right, I think we'll go back.
Nonprofits, yeah.
One, yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but everybody's been having the same problem we have been having. Until recently, research that might have helped all of us was unavailable. AAUW and other nonprofits everywhere did the best they could and adopted the business leadership model for recruitment, retention, productive engagement, and leadership because it was familiar and it made sense. As we know, employees show up and work productively for money. Employees then use the money to buy things that will satisfy their basic needs, the ones on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for food, water, shelter, safety, and comfort. Money is what touches the head, heart, and hands of the employee. Since money is the employee's main motivator, it follows A business leader's primary job is to keep employees productive and profitable, so there'll be enough money to keep the business going. Money is the payback given an employee for a job well done. AAUW has had excellent success in some areas using the business leadership model. Accountability to donors and members is good. And most importantly, we have developed an array of engaging community programs that have measurably advanced and empowered women and girls throughout the country. Sadly, the business leadership model has not helped volunteer organizations, AAUW included, with a solution to stop the steady decline in membership, volunteer engagement, and leadership. It is puzzling because our cause is one of such great passion to so many women. Try as we may, we have not been able to get out of this pickle. Since 1881, AAUW has prided itself in being unique by conducting research, giving us guidance for legislative advocacy and developing programs that empower women and girls externally. AAUW's continuing decline in membership begged to be researched internally. Sandy Gabe, former AAUW president of California from 2022 to 2024, made a bold decision to do just that. In 2022, former AAUW California members were surveyed and asked why they dropped their branch membership. Particular attention was given to answers of those who had been leaders and are actively engaged. Other than moving or illness, a significant number said they left AAUW because they felt unwelcome, disconnected, and or just became disinterested in participating, even for the cause. A year later, Sandy Gabe challenged the AAUW of California Leadership Development Committee to design an effective and credible leadership program that would retain and engage members, develop leaders, and be different than what we've been doing. Because what we've been doing has not been working, at least to give us the membership result we need to survive. Our educational journey took months of research. After reading Barry Atlin's book, Engaging the Head, Heart, and Hands of Volunteers, and meeting with him in person, we started to understand why we were losing members and how to make a leadership correction. Since volunteers cannot be paid off with money to show up and be productive, Barry suggested we look inward for our volunteer motivators. In the 3 sessions he held last year for AAUW California branch leaders, we revisited what moves each of us uniquely to renew, stay engaged, and become leaders. Barry suggested Barry suggested that our intrinsic motivators are likely the same motivators as those of most of our members, similar to the ones on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These motivators touch our heart and give us joy. Barry suggested once each AAUW member's volunteers' unique intrinsic motivators are discovered, all we have to do is develop a volunteer leadership program that replaces money as the payoff for engagement with branch opportunities that will give intrinsic needs satisfaction or joy to our members when engaging. Simply put, satisfaction and joy replace money as the payoff in the business model. We looked to see if there was any credible research that might support Barry's theory. And there is. Volunteer leaders around the world also seriously concerned about the drastic decline in volunteer membership, fairly recently conducted a study by interviewing volunteers worldwide. The results were conclusive. Universally, people volunteer to satisfy one or more of their intrinsic needs. And those intrinsic needs are to altruize, to socialize, learn, and self-actualize. These intrinsic needs, I've got some kind of echo. Is everyone hearing the echo or just me?
No, we're hearing the echo, I think, because some people are not muted. So we really need, people to mute. And Sigrid, I gave you the information how to do that.
Okay, I think I'll just continue. That sounds like it's pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. The intrinsic needs are to altruize, to socialize, to learn, and self-actualize. These intrinsic needs for volunteers look much like the higher needs on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Credible research indicates most of our AAUW members will choose to give of their time, talent, and skills when at least some of their intrinsic needs are met. Barry calls these the needs of the heart. Others may say it's the joy we feel when we are doing something for a cause we chose to join. The joy we feel when we socialize and feel belonging with like-minded people. The joy we feel when we learn together, or when we do something we always wanted to do but never had the opportunity. Simply put, volunteer engagement is an affair of the heart. Fulfilling the members' intrinsic motivators for volunteering touches their heart, drives their choices for volunteering, and sustains their passion for serving. The heart you see here is an actual patchwork quilt design. It symbolizes the joy volunteers feel when their intrinsic needs are satisfied. It represents our newfound awareness of the organizational and personal value of focusing first on the intrinsic motivational needs of our AAUW members. Looking back on my years as an AAUW leader, I have to admit, I paid more attention to the needs of AAUW and our branch. Filling positions, planning programs and activities, rather than focusing on the intrinsic needs of our members. I thought each member was naturally intrinsically motivated to take on almost any AAUW task just because they had a passion for the mission. I know now I was wrong. Not all, but many AAUW members want more as an AAUW member than being assigned a task of which they have no passion or interest, no matter how important that task is for the cause or the branch. Branch administrative tasks in certain positions are undeniably needed to manage and sustain a branch, but most members are not interested in doing those jobs. Some are not even interested in engaging in successful activities and programs born of another's passion or another time. If members will not volunteer to take on an assigned task or join a program unless their hearts have been touched, then the focus of AAUW leaders must be to find which of the 4 intrinsic needs touches the member's heart. Trying to assign tasks, putting members into activities, and asking new and unengaged members to lead is putting the cart before the horse. With this newfound knowledge and organizational self-awareness, we can now choose to change our leadership model, or maybe just make a slight focus pivot from assigning tasks to creating a branch environment that will give each member an opportunity to experience personal joy and satisfaction while working for the cause. But how to do this in ways we can be certain will be successful and positive? Amazingly, we found another recent study, also conducted with volunteer organizations around the world, that gives us a credible focus and credible leadership guidance. Spinning off of the previous research mentioned, this study concludes successful leaders of volunteers put volunteers first, not the organization or what we as leaders want members to do to satisfy our agenda, our needs, our shoulds, or those of the branch. Successful leaders of volunteers' first leadership priority is building and facilitating relationships. 4 interconnected ways the study suggests for how leaders build and facilitate relationships is to care, connect, support, and recognize member volunteers in ways that are personally and satisfyingly joyful to them. We will cover care and connect tonight, support and recognition in the next session. To build and facilitate relationships, AAUW leaders must show they genuinely care about each and every member. An AAUW leader shows caring by personally getting to know each new member, as well as getting acquainted or reacquainted with a renewing member who is not engaged. This is most effective when done in person by getting together with a member over a cup of coffee in a small cafe, at home, or outdoors in a park on a sunny day. Discovering what moves each member to volunteer is the first step and key to member engagement. And discovering what is in the member's heart, what each hopes to gain by being an AAUW member, is especially beneficial when done by a leader in person. What moves a member to participate varies for each person. Some may only want to socialize, to learn, or self-actualize. Some might want only to network for career or advance an AAUW-related cause. Just as young women, working women, and retired women all have different amounts of time to serve, all have different intrinsic needs for which they hope to gain by being an AAUW member. And some members' motivators may not be all that altruistic. Successful leaders of volunteers take time to personally discover every member's passion for volunteering, no matter how much or how little time that member can or is willing to give. As long as the member's interest is in benefiting women and girls and is related to the AAUW mission, leaders of volunteers welcome and care about each member as a person. Open-ended, getting to know you questions can help leaders discover what an individual member hopes to gain by joining or engaging as an AAUW volunteer, as well as learning their skills, interests, hobbies, and time frame for volunteering and gathering. Be curious about each as a person. Prompt and listen for their ideas and suggestions. Share current and past programs. Ask for suggestions and welcome new and creative ideas. Being open to suggestions for new programs, activities, and ideas shows the member you care, and she will be valued. A handout of sample getting to know you questions will be posted on the website, as will this narrative and the slides from this PowerPoint. We will also include the AAUW National Public Policies to help leaders clarify whether or not suggested programs and activities are actually related to the mission. AAUW members vote on these public policies every year, so they are an accurate reflection of endless possibilities for a member to have joy creating a new and different program that is related to the mission. Joyce Zook, past AAUW of Oregon co-president, a longtime AAUW Salem, Oregon branch member, and current branch membership co-vice president, has a story she would like to share.
Yes, this story is about the gingerbread house, and what a wonderful activity to engage. It was a few years ago when a friend was caring for her 2 young granddaughters. They were sitting at the kitchen table with gumdrops, icing, sprinkles, peppermint, and thin pre-baked cake walls for making a gingerbread house. She started making suggestions for what to do and how, bordering on perfection. But then her daughter said, "Mom, you need to remember that the process and their enjoyment of it is more important than the perfect product." With our AAUW members, if we want them to engage in ways that help women and girls advance, members must be invested in ways that meet their needs. Our priority as a leader is to ensure the process of their engagement is fulfilling and joyful.
Thank you, Joyce. The girls certainly look they are happily engaged. And I have to confess, these are my granddaughters 12 years ago. After getting to know new and unengaged members, AAUW leaders can begin connecting them to other members who are involved in branch activities of similar interest. Remember, AAUW's leaders' #1 priority is not to assign tasks, even when connecting members to each other. Volunteers first, leaders' #1 priority is to build and facilitate relationships. Leaders can avoid the temptation to assign tasks and recruit leaders by focusing on connecting member volunteers with each other, one-on-one, in a small group or large group, or even by Zoom. Connecting members facilitates relationships. Volunteers first leaders can get help from other members and begin creating an enjoyable branch culture of relationship building, inclusion, and belonging. Share the value of volunteers first focus with all branch members. Model caring and connecting members to each other. Encourage all members to care about and connect with members they don't know well. express appreciation to those who show caring and connecting. AAUW leaders might find it helpful to create a welcoming team of interested members. Include all leaders, not just the membership vice president. Meet in person with a new or unengaged member. Meet, greet, and sit with them at meetings. Follow up or partner with members for a period of time to ensure they are being welcomed, included, and enjoying themselves. Another suggestion is to create a communication network. Keep all members in the know with a variety of notices, particularly to new and unengaged members. Make frequent personal contacts, following up and initiating two-way exchanges. Claudia Carmichael, president of AAUW Salem, Oregon branch, will share her rewarding experience laying the groundwork for a welcoming team and communication network. Claudia?
Oh, over the last year, I've been reading and trying to adopt Barry Outland's suggestions for engaging our AAUW members. I have made caring and connecting new members a priority, and it seems to have worked. In the last year, we have increased our membership 15%, 12 members. Member engagement level has also increased, and new unengaged members are willing to take on co-leadership roles. I lead the effort, but work as a team. We're big on teamwork with the membership VP and 3 other members who make sure everyone has a name tag and serves as greeters at the gatherings. All 5 of us make sure new and unengaged members are sitting with someone with whom they are engaging. The membership VP and I make sure each potential new and unengaged member receives the newsletter, even if they haven't joined yet. A couple of years ago, a branch member who was interested began sending out reminder notices to all members for upcoming monthly events. We also make sure our potential and new members get these notices also. The membership VP sends a get to know you questionnaire out to all new members and chats with them about their reasons and hopes for joining AAUW, their skills, and their interests. With their permission, another member interviews the new member in person and writes a welcome article for the newsletter. Between myself and the membership VP, we arrange to introduce the new member to other members who have similar interests or are engaged in an activity that interests the new member. I keep a list of new and potential members near my computer, so if I don't see them attending any of the programs or interest groups, I call or email them to make sure they know what activities are planned and haven't fallen through the cracks. You can't always assume members read emails either. Sometimes it takes a phone call to alert them to upcoming events and encourage other members to call them also, especially if they have expressed interest in the group or activity the other member is leading. I guess the moral of the story is, as much as possible, don't give up. We all need to feel connected, and in this busy age, it sometimes takes a bit more effort, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. And it's been very successful. You've been very successful getting this going for our branch. In addition to creating the groundwork for a welcoming team and communication network to connect new and unengaged members, another suggestion is to regularly include circles of engagement in all gatherings. Circles of engagement provide members with an opportunity to connect with members they don't know well, learn about each other, create understanding, and learn how to talk to each other in new ways. Circles of engagement where all members are given the opportunity, encouraged by other members to participate, can be part of an all-member outing or interest group. Member orientation, having members share in the decision-making and give feedback, and even for yearly planning. Answering questions like, what do members need to make their volunteer experience more fulfilling? What do members want to keep doing? What's working? What's not working? What do members want to eliminate? What do members want to add? This might be a first step to a member acquiring interest in leadership or starting a new program. Cheryl Blakely, former president of AAUW Palm Springs branch, was the first to suggest and show the value of including circles of engagement in branch programs. She is here tonight to share a couple of those experiences with you. Cheryl?
Since 1881, AAUW women have been coming together to engage with like-minded women around the table. As strong women, we have had to face daunting challenges and controversial issues throughout our lifetimes. Sharing those experiences builds lasting friendships. After the pandemic, our branch book club thought it would be powerful and moving for all of our members to reunite with each other by having a table talk discussion about the moral, ethical, and personal issues raised in 2 of the books. After a brief presentation about Michelle Obama's book, All the Light We Carry, and Nina Totenberg's book, Dinners with Ruth, I asked members at each table to discuss, why did Michelle Obama choose to wear her natural hair and not wear the braids she so desired to wear when she was First Lady? What were the ethical issues Nina Totenberg and Ruth Bader Ginsburg faced in their decision to not disclose Judge Ginsburg's serious health issues, knowing that the Supreme Court needed stalwarts who supported women's rights, among other things? Lively discussions ensued at each table. Members reported out their comments. We got to know each other better by sharing our common personal experiences. Members said it worked because in small groups, no matter our age or background, we were able to discuss how our own lives were affected by these issues. As president, I made engaging members a priority and encouraged other leaders to do the same. Our efforts served as a catalyst for an increase in member participation, as well as retention and recruitment of new AAUW members. Okay, my second circle of engagement story happened during the pandemic. We were gearing up for our annual AAUW and Tech Trek fundraiser, which had to be by Zoom. Since we hadn't been meeting in person, we wanted to find a way to meet our members' needs, to socialize in a meaningful and fun way. Our members loved to dress up, and many hadn't had an opportunity to do so or get to know each other. So we created a hats off theme. That theme had a dual purpose: to honor the women and girls we support and to give us an opportunity to share something about ourselves. Each member wore a special hat and told the story that made their hat special. Members had a wonderful time. They enjoyed learning about each other, and their stories brought back happy memories, and fundraising goals were met. Engaging members in a way that touches their hearts and is also good for the AAUW cause.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're probably wondering, how is it possible to create time for circles of engagement when meeting time seems so short? Barry Outland suggests limiting leader and speaker time to 50% of the allotted time and using the other 50% of meeting time for circles of engagement. Using 50% of the allotted time for circles of engagement gives members time they wouldn't otherwise have, and maybe in no other setting, to think and reflect, to interact with a speaker, or engage in meaningful discussions with others they might not know beyond socializing, which usually happens before and after meetings anyway. Leaders can welcome, ask, learn, and connect members to each other by simply floating around the room, being friendly, and chatting with members during social time. Leaders can also effectively connect with members during the 50% of the meeting time that is dedicated for branch business. Ask members to turn and introduce themselves to each other at every gathering. Communicate what's happening and how member participation fulfills the AAUW mission, and frequently share recent branch successes, connecting them to the AAUW mission. Yes, part of connecting all member volunteers to each other is to connect them to our common cause, the AAUW mission and values. Members sometimes leave an organization they perceive as not doing enough to fulfill the mission they chose to support when they first joined. In that regard, it is vital that branch leaders work with members, new and unengaged, to create an array of AAUW mission-related activities, programs, and other interest groups that give members the opportunity to experience the joy in belonging to AAUW. Many years ago, AAUW adopted the business leadership model. Perhaps the time has come for us to embrace a new AAUW Volunteers First leadership model, a leadership model with an image that envisions and represents caring and connecting, welcoming, inclusion and belonging, and empowering leadership, and an empowering leadership style of building and facilitating relationships. So, what have we covered today? AAUW members looked inward and found members leave AAUW because they feel unwelcome, disconnected, and disinterested. We've learned people worldwide volunteer for the opportunity to satisfy personal, intrinsic needs that cannot be satisfied elsewhere. People universally volunteer to altruize, socialize, learn, and/or explore ways to self-actualize as payment for and while engaging joyfully in a cause of their passion. Volunteerism is a affair of the heart. Fulfilling our AAUW members' volunteer motivators touches their heart, drives their choices for volunteering, and sustains their passion for serving. This is your pivot point. As an AAUW leader, your first priority is not to assign tasks. Successful leaders of volunteers put volunteers first. In putting volunteers first, an AAUW leader's priority is to build and facilitate relationships with and among every member all the time. When we as leaders nurture belonging and joy within our membership, when we as leaders genuinely care for each and every member as a person, when we as leaders personally discover what moves each to volunteer, then connect each member to each other, we then will experience the joy of leadership. We will see growth in membership, an increase in member participation, engagement, and yes, even the desire of a few to lead and invest in sustaining AAUW. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peggy. We're ready to do some questions here. So I gotta find Sharon here, and she's going to moderate the questions. Where are you, Sharon?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm looking
Above
for
your
your
head.
picture.
Above
There
your
you
head,
go.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. Two of you. All right. So we've got a lot of questions in the chat. Many of them Sharon has been able to answer, but maybe you want to repeat some of the ones that everybody else wants to hear about and also answer new ones. So
Well,
take
I
it
went
away.
up to the beginning and, some of them were specific to the branch activity of the year. By the way, for those of you who are interested in finding out some clever and replicable programs that your branch can then use, go to the block that we showed you under branch tools on the AAUW California website. Scroll down to where it says branch activity of the year, and all the applications and all of the programs are listed there, including those which won awards, but all those who had actually just sent in presentations. So part of the requirement is that it be replicable. So your branch can use it too. There were questions about the survey, Becky, that you are sending out with regard to scholarships. Maybe you want to
Becky, you need to unmute yourself too.
answer
There we go.
that.
The scholarships, we were trying to, number one, figure out who was giving scholarships, the amounts, the criteria. I know I saw in the chat that there was some concern about how we were addressing the gender issue, if they were just for women. We do have that problem with some of our partners, and the CU folks could probably speak to that a little bit more in depth. But we were trying to find out how people were identifying that, and that might be instead of saying a female, it might be a single parent. It might be somebody that's returning to school, which most probably would be women anyway. So we're looking at those kinds of things for purposes of informing us, because right now we're trying to gather information to see how people are doing it, the amounts, the number, etc. And when we get the results of that, we'll be happy to share that with the group.
Some schools are doing pushback because the scholarships in their bylaws specifically state that they're only for women, and schools are saying that's not something that they're comfortable with. So we're working on that issue. Somebody wanted to know, and Patricia Souza is in charge of our branch activity of the year, if branches can only submit one program for consideration, or can they submit more? Patricia or Sigrid, do you want to answer that?
Unmute yourself, Patricia.
I am new to this, but I do believe you could submit 2 or more if you have fabulous programs that you'd like to submit from your branch. Thanks.
In fact, the first 3 that were submitted all came from La Mesa El Cajon.
Oh.
So yeah, you can submit more than one. Go for it.
The criteria is also online under the branch activity of the year in that block. So make sure that you look at that to see how they are judged.
Yeah. Does anyone have questions for Cheryl or Joyce or Claudia?
One more comment, Sigrid.
Oh, sure. Okay.
It was requested that if you want to help the fire sufferers in Southern California, please do not send checks, send gift cards. It works so much better, and that way they can be distributed easily. The checks are a challenge.
Thanks, Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have questions for the previous speakers, Joyce Zook and Claudia and who else? What do we have here? Cheryl.
Can I comment that people are saying that this is so wonderful, and thank you all to Peggy and Cheryl and Joyce and Claudia for your presentations, because This is a new way of looking at things, and we need to think outside the box.
Exactly. We had 102 registered tonight, and usually half or less show up. We had 63 people show up tonight and stay.
Wow.
So obviously, this is important and of interest, and people are willing to listen to a new way of approaching our members and recruiting leadership.
There's another question here. Someone was wondering if the survey to members that left showed any difference across age and race. I don't think that that was anything that was asked in the survey.
Sharman, do you want to answer that one?
I actually don't know because I don't remember the questions on the survey exactly. So I don't think that it did ask that though.
Yeah, I don't think it did, frankly.
Thanks.
There's another question. How does one encourage relationships when using Zoom? Does anybody want to answer that? Because if not, I have an idea.
Go
I'd be
ahead.
No,
happy
you
to-
can
I'd be happy to. I teach online all the time, been teaching online for over 20 years. And in order, and Zoom was relatively new, but it's just like it is when you're almost face to face. I say almost, but just like what's in there, what I do even with my board meetings, always have an agenda. But I open up the room about 20 minutes, 25 minutes before we start, just for us to get used to it. Mostly it's technology. So, a lot of us have to deal with that issue, and we stay afterwards, who's ever interested. We also have breakout rooms, really using the breakout rooms, but making sure your leaders of the breakout rooms know their task. That's extremely important. You don't want it just to be a gripe session or anything. There has to be clear-cut kinds of objectives that are going through that you're doing that. If it's brainstorming or whatever, you could do a lot of fun things using Zoom.
So my comment is tacking on to what Bev had to say. There are people who are in branches who are very uncomfortable with technology, and they don't even want to touch a computer. You could have viewing parties. You could share a Zoom event in someone's home and invite several people to come. And you can also have training parties. My favorite story about one of last year's annual event happenings. A woman, I don't know who, was 83 years old and she'd never touched a computer, but she wanted to be able to attend the AAUW California annual event. She made her son go with her to Staples and buy all the equipment that she needed to have and get her set up so that she could know how to Zoom for the event. If she can do it, you can do it, and everybody in your branch can do it.
And it's good to identify somebody in your branch who is a technology whiz and ask them if they can support the members by helping them with these kinds of issues. Because sometimes it just is an in-person thing. Go to their house, show them how to sign on, show them how to connect, and set it up so they can. It's pretty easy, and again, you're in a circle of engagement because you're helping them connect to the mission, the branch, and the members.
So I'd like to read this. My observation is that you are all very gracious and welcoming, and that this is a demonstration of exactly what Peggy's presentation is all about, is it not?
Oh, that's
Oh, nice.
Nice comment.
Thank you.
Thank you to our fearless leader.
And Peggy has put her phone number in the chat. Anybody can phone or text or reach
Email.
out to her in some way. And that way she will be happy to help work you through the process.
And everything is always available. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Peggy.
Sigrid, I would suggest that you pull up the AAUW website again, and we can
Okay,
show
hold
them
on here.
exactly where this recording will be.
Okay.
While you do that, can I make one, I would like to highlight what Lotta put in the chat about the connection, and we shouldn't discount texting or messaging, because a lot of younger women especially, this is how we communicate. And I'm putting my there. We don't have time. We're working, we have kids, whatever we have going on. So, and actually using Zoom, again, is another way to connect with women who are younger, who, you know, don't have time to be driving or being in person. They're busy, you know, whatever. But just young people in general use texting, you know, rather than phone calls. So kind of, you know, thinking about your audience, but not only doing the meeting in person and the phone calls, but thinking about texting as well.
Okay. Where are we?
I don't have it up, so I can't do it for you.
I'm going to get rid of you guys. And hold on. Where are you guys? In the spotlight. Okay, so now I'm going to share. Okay, we're back to the
Okay.
to the Branch
So-
Tools site, where everything that you ever wanted to know about everything is here. Okay, where
and
do you
if
want to go?
Scroll down to peer groups.
Here we are, right here.
So here we are, one of the first blocks that you can come up with, and that's where this recording will be stored. So you'll be able to find it. We are the branch development peer group. And so this will have our the resources. And here are the teaching materials
Right.
that
So
are
when-
also available.
Right, we're going to have the actual slides, the narrative, and the handouts will be in this section. And then the recording of tonight's session will be over here, where all the rest of our recordings are. So on the 22nd, Sharon hosted Addressing Struggling Branches. We had a, where did it go? Anyway, Susan had one for CU. We have various ones in the past. So everything that we've recorded is here, and you can watch that at your leisure and send your members to that if you like.
The other thing that I would point out on our website, if you go back to the, notice that there's a little magnifying glass up here. That is a robust search engine. And if you want information, where did it go? Oh, right here in this block.
Yeah. What do
If
you want me to search?
information to search and you don't know what, you know, whatever the buzzword is, put whatever it in that you need. And we have a plethora of webinars. We probably did, from the time that COVID hit, we probably did 40 webinars. And so put in leadership and you'll get a whole bunch of information. It'll take you to all kinds of information on leadership. And there's a block for under that Branch Tools that talks about webinars. And I mean, there's just more information than you will ever need, probably.
Yeah, here's where all the webinars and Sharon and Dawn Johnson and a bunch of other people worked tirelessly to put keywords into each of these webinars so that you could search by a word. And here they all are. So the one that just happened, reproductive rights, where do we go from there? Priorities in light of the election, website migration, which is, you know, always a big deal. Project 2025, that was very popular last year, and so on. So you can always find everything that's been recorded here by using that search engine and just one little word, and you'll get there.
There's no excuse for not having information because it's here for you.
Okay, are we done with this, Sharon?
Thank you.
Okay.
And I think I've covered all of the things in the chat also. If anybody else
Okay,
has
does anyone
questions.
else have any other questions they didn't put in the chat? Please raise your hand using the little there we go. See? Raise your hand and then you'll pop to the right top of the screen and we can recognize you. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay.
A lot of
Well,
thank
thank you.
yous.
Oh, Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
I was just gonna say, when you were looking at the webinars, the CU partnership peer group was under another heading. That's why you didn't see it under branch development. But when
Okay.
they look at the topic stuff, you can find the peer groups that already took place for College University Partnership Program.
Right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, thank you everyone for participating this evening. When you sign off tonight, you will be directed to a quick little survey, which we hope you'll complete. This helps us understand your needs and also evaluate our presentations. Nancy has a question. Go, Nancy.
Hi, do you know when the next French peer group meeting is?
Yes and no. We know when the next branch development peer group meeting is. We think that part 2 of this will either be in March or May, but we'll keep you posted. And you can learn everything about what we're doing if you read the branch to branch, or I'm sorry, board to board newsletter every month. And we post things in there about what's up, what's coming up, what you can participate in, and who to contact if you have any questions. Susan.
One thing I did forget to say is if your branch does sponsor students to go to Nick Whistle, we are asking that you get the permission to share their name and email address with me at the state so that we can arrange a Zoom session for all of the students from California, and possibly if you want to include Northern Washington, it could be the West Coast students, just to talk about travel and what to expect.
Exactly. Okay. Well, again, I want to thank Peggy and Joyce and Claudia and who did I miss?
Cheryl.
Carol.
Cheryl.
And
Cheryl.
And then Carol and Bev. All of you were great contributors to tonight, and we thank you very much for all of your efforts. As Peggy said, this has been months in the making. So we're pretty sure the second piece won't take quite so long because we have the format down. And go to our website to see the next meeting, and also we will send invitations to everyone. And I again will invite the Oregon and Washington people to join us. So thank you very much for tonight. And we'll see you soon. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What do you think?
I think it got slow in spots. I think the information was good. I think there was a lot of good questions in the chat. So I was very happy that we got as many people on as we did.
Yeah, we kept at 62 all the way to 8 o'clock.
Yeah. I think most people expect an hour, so maybe they plan, trying to get kids to bed or whatever.
Right.
So,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
Well,
kind of I scrolled through the questions again just to make sure and see if there was anything new. But I think, the texting and calling is, and having a greeter at the meetings. That's what we try to do, is have a greeter, and then we've put tags on the name tags of, put another
Yeah.
little sticker or something on the new members. So it
Oops,
helps
let me
me.
stop recording. Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. I need to stop recording.
Oh, there you go.